9 Elections in 1 Year by F.H. Garver. This is recorded to celebrate the 9th anniversary of LibriVox. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. 9 Elections in 1 Year by F.H. Garver, from the American Political Science Review, Volume 3, August 1909. Recently, certain influences have tended greatly to increase the number of elections in many states and localities. Chief among these influences have been the growing tendency to put into actual operation the principles of the primary and of the referendum. A concrete example may be seen in the experiences of Sioux City, Iowa, during the year 1908. In this town of 50,000 inhabitants, 9 regular or special elections were held during the year named. The essential facts concerning these elections are as follows. January 21st, special election on the Commission Plan of Government. Active campaign waged. Plan defeated by a majority of 329 in a total vote of 4,237. February 24th, the city primary. Regular biennial election. State primary law passed in 1907. Candidates nominated for 18 city offices, including 10 councilmen. Total vote on mayor, 3,248. Contest on mayoralty in Republican Party only. March 9th, school election. Regular, annual. 2 directors and a school treasurer elected. A tax proposition to appropriate $60,000 for a schoolhouse fund also voted on. Total vote on treasurer, 1,641. Tax proposition carried by a majority of 204 in a total vote of 1,484. March 30th, city election, regular biennial. 8 officers and a council of 10 elected, each voter voting for 11 candidates. Total vote on mayor, 7,159. May 28th, special election on traction franchise. The traction company sought 1. The right to extend its lines through additional streets, and 2. A time extension of certain old franchises. Popular demand for universal transfers refused by the company. Franchises defeated by a majority of 34 in a total vote of 3,868. June 2nd, general primary, regular biennial election. 4 parties in the field. Candidates nominated for United States Senator, presidential electors at large, 2, district elector, representative in Congress, state senator, state representatives, 2, 9 state, 9 county, and 3 township officers. Total 28 different offices. August 11th, second special election on traction franchise. Practically a resubmission of franchises voted down on May 28th, from which, however, the objectionable features had been eliminated. Franchises carried by a majority of 1,449 in a total vote of 2,923. November 3rd, general election. Regular biennial. 43 officials voted for, including 13 presidential electors, 12 state officers, 1 congressman, 1 state senator, 2 state representatives, 9 county officers, and 5 township officers. Total vote on presidential electors, 8,168. Total registration in city, 9,188. An amendment to the state constitution was also voted upon, and carried by a majority of 2,162 in a total vote of 4,616, which equals 56.5% of the vote cast for presidential electors. At this election, the Republicans held a second primary on United States Senator, necessitated by the death of Senator Allison, their nominee in the June primary. Total vote, 4,873. November 17th. Special election. 3 separate propositions. 1. The Perry Creek Conduit and Tax for Same, both carried. Total vote on conduit, 3,558. On tax, 3,496. 2. The Bacon Creek Conduit and Tax for Same, both carried. Total vote on conduit, 3,567. On tax, 3,519. 3. Gas franchise. Several changes in former franchises asked for by the Gas and Electric Company. Proposition defeated by a majority of 281 in a total vote of 3,065. Of these 9 elections, 5 were regular and 4 were special. Of the former, 4 were biennial and 1 was annual. 2 of the biennial elections were primaries, one a city primary, the other general. The adoption of the primary principle in Iowa has really added only 1 election, and that biennial in Sioux City, because just prior to the passage of the state primary law, an amendment to the Constitution abolished annual state elections in favor of biennial. The principle of the referendum was involved in 6 of the 9 elections mentioned above, while that of the initiative was clearly employed in connection with several. In addition to choosing 94 officers, or the equivalent of that number, during the year, the voters had submitted to them 10 separate propositions, of which 7 were voted or carried and 3 rejected. Discrimination was especially shown in connection with the last election, when 4 propositions were affirmatively voted and 1 rejected. The same may be said of the traction franchise, in that it was once rejected and only accepted after it had been materially modified. One very noticeable feature of these elections was the smallness of the vote cast at the special elections. While 8,168 votes were counted for presidential elections on November 3rd, not much over half as many were cast at any of the special elections. The vote on the Commission Plan of Government was 4,237, or 51.8% of the vote for president. The vote on the gas franchise, 3,065, equaled 37.5%, while that on the school tax, 1,641, amounted to only 20% of the same total. When elections are too frequent, voters are bound to lose some of their interest, no matter how important the issues may be. Yet the relatively small vote on some of the foregoing propositions should not be overemphasized. Special elections seldom bring out the full vote. The phenomenon is parallel to another one, namely that side issues seldom do any better. This may be illustrated in the election of November 3rd, mentioned above, upon which occasion an amendment to the state constitution received in Sioux City 4,616 votes, as against 8,168 for presidential electors. End of 9 Elections in 1 Year, by F. H. Garver. Read by Maria Casper.